Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm actually working from home this week. We actually had, for those of you that don't know, we actually had a death in our family a couple weeks ago. But hey, I don't mind working from home. A lot of people I know probably wouldn't mind that either. But anyway, I think I'm gonna call these videos I'm doing called a bunch on books because I'm using books to inspire what I'm sharing with you all. So this morning, literally just read a book in 15 minutes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll tell you again. It's a really cool app called Blinkist. Blinkist is a really neat app. It lets you read a book in 15 minutes or less. Um, and the book that I decided to read this morning was Simon Sinek's Start with Why. And there's a lot of people out there that talk about the why. The why is the thing that will pull you forward towards your goals, towards your future. There's a lot of different philosophies and things on there about your why. And in his book, he really believes that the foundation of fulfillment in any area of life, it doesn't matter if it's business or personal, is starting with your why. Uh, like I'll give an example. In his book, and he has another book called The Golden Circle, there's a principle of the Golden Circle that talks about the what, the how, and the why. And many people, they start with what. They try to figure out how, and then they come up with why they're doing this. Um, and he talks about in his book that, that's completely reversed. If we can identify and have things in common with people that have the same kind of why, the same kind of drives, things that are important to them, the same kind of intentions, that's a much better motivator than guilt. It's a much better motivator than greed. It's a much better motivator in so many different ways. And in our own family, we've actually used this, I've told you before, I helped start a nonprofit, over 12 years ago, had over 100 volunteers. I've used this in leadership in various jobs that I've had with employees and volunteers and various people. But that's actually not the example I want to give you. This morning, the example I want, or this afternoon, the example I want to give you is actually in parenting. Uh, like my son Evan, I love Evan. Evan's amazing. I love all my kids. Evan's my oldest. He's my only son. Evan has had his fair share of challenges. Anybody that knows like his story or any of my kids' stories when it came to them being born, you'll know that we have what we consider miracle babies. My wife went through amazing things to have all of our kids, so huge shout out to Heather Bunch. She's an amazing woman. She's also my best friend. I'm a little partial. Uh, so Evan is 8 years old. He'll be turning 9 this summer. And when Evan makes a mistake, and I need to make a correction, I need to address something with him. Many times when I tell him, all right, now, Evan, can you please do this instead? He'll ask the one question that I think every kid has mastered, and that's why. Well, why? Why? Why do we have to do that, Dad? Why? And I have an option to go I'm like at a fork in the road, and I can go two different directions with this. I can either choose to say, because I said so. I would identify that with what? Like, why? Because I said so. There's no reason behind it. Just do what I told you to do, right? I know parents, I know bosses, I know employers that is their leadership style. And I'm here to challenge that. I don't think that's the best. Here's the other direction that you can go. And it's this. Evan asked me the question, why, Dad? Why? Why do we need to do this? And I can simply take him down some basic questions to show value to him as to why this would be important. But here's something I learned from Andy Andrews, and I think it's fantastic. Andy talks about whenever you want to help someone understand anything, you need to show them two things. Number one, what's in it for them? What's in it for them? Why should they even care? So what's in it for them? The other one is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. They got to see proof. So I'm going to give you just one example. So Evan, he doesn't enjoy cleaning. I don't know a lot of kids that really do. I think as we get older, we become OCD or whatever. Some people are born more organized than others, but Evan is extremely creative, loves to create things, and people that have a tendency to be super creative don't necessarily like organization. So when it comes to Evan cleaning his room or cleaning up things in the house, that does not interest him. When he compares that to playing video games or watching YouTube channels that he loves or playing with his toys, it doesn't really stack up there with things like, yeah, let's do this thing. So this is, and I'm not the best at this. My wife is actually the best at this. Heather's amazing at this. I'm learning and I'm gotten a lot better than I used to be. But I'll tell Evan, Evan, can you please go clean your room? And he'll still, to this day, he still asks me why, because he's learning. And that's okay. He can ask me why as many times as he wants, because that means that he's progressively learning. He's curious. So he'll ask me why, and I'll say, okay, well, Evan, when all the lights are out and it's completely dark in your room, and Mom wants to come in and give you a hug and give you a kiss, do you want Mom to get hurt? Do you want her to like step on something sharp or a Lego, which is like a landmine and it really hurts barefoot? He's like, no. I was like, do you want bad things to happen to Mom? Do you want her to be in pain? No, Dad, no. Okay. Now, Evan, also, we like to have people over from time to time, and it makes Mom and Dad really happy when the house is clean. It shows respect to our guests when they come over. Our house isn't spotless, but I mean, just reasonable, right? And I say, do you like making Mom and Dad feel good? Does it make you feel good to make other people feel good? And Evan's very relational. So he's like, yeah, of course, yeah. And I'll just tell him, like, Evan, so when you clean your room, when you clean up the thing that I told you to do, it makes Mom and Dad extremely happy. We love you regardless, buddy. It just makes us extra happy when you do the things that we ask you to do, because you're actually helping us and helping other people. So he sees the proof in that because we always give him hugs and kisses. We give him hugs and kisses all the time, but we definitely praise the things that we want him to develop as good habits. I don't want him being 25 years old, out on his own, living in a pigsty. It's going to be really hard when he wants to find a wife someday. So I'm actually grooming him and helping him develop the habits that he needs for life. Okay, it's not just because I want him to, clean his room. It's bigger than that. But then we also sweeten the deal for him a little bit. We show him what's in it for him. So he loves to play video games. He loves to do various things. So I'll basically tell him, all right, man, okay, if you clean your room, you can play on the computer. Easy. The sooner you do it, the longer you can play. So then he's motivated. See, he sees what's in it for him. Also, we've used monetary things like, hey, Evan, if you do this, and this has worked really good. This actually helped him raise $45 to buy a Angry Birds thing that he wanted. And then I'll talk more about this in probably a different video, but I'll just give you the little premise of it. We actually would reward him when he would do certain chores around the house, put away clothes, sweep, clean his room, straighten up, do various things, set the table. That's a good one to give for this example. But we would give him twice as much money if he took responsibility. Because when they are looking for opportunities to serve, that will serve him and so many people in so many ways in life. Those are the people that typically excel in life when they serve others. So, like, we would be preparing dinner, and I would ask Evan, is there anything you want to take responsibility for? Like, I'm prompting him. He's like, oh, Dad, can I set the table? Absolutely, Evan. You get twice as much allowance as you would have gotten if I had to ask you. Good job, buddy. And he started learning that, and now many times when we're preparing dinner, he does that on his own. Showing people what's in it for them, showing people proof beyond a reasonable doubt, that helps them see the why. It's more of a consulting and coaching type of method in parenting. You can use this in leadership, you can use this in business. And the people feel so much more valued whenever we treat people like just some slave and say, well, do it because I said so. Now, don't get me wrong. There's times when if Evans or any of my kids are running into the street and I say stop, I don't need to have a long, lengthy conversation with them. If I say stop, they need to stop, for their safety. And there are those conversations as well. There's a balance to this. But the point is that when you communicate the why, it so helps people. So a couple resources and a couple things I want to give you guys. Number one, check out Simon Sinek's book. If you want to read the whole book, go to the library, get it for free. You can buy audio book, Kindle, Amazon, or if you want to get a subscription to Blinkist, I pay $80 a year. But for me, that's really worth it because I can read more than a book a day. So Blinkist is a great resource. You can literally get through that book in 15 minutes, and you won't miss really anything that was in the full book. For me, I love efficiency, so it's a great fit for me. So definitely read that book. Also, Andy Andrews came out with a great book that addresses, I believe it's chapter 13, that addresses this topic of what's in it for them, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and helping people make the changes they need to in life. Discovering the why. The book is called The Little Things. He just came out with this, his most recent book, and I would highly recommend it. Also, and I wrote a couple things down for you guys. What's your favorite leadership tip in communicating why? Let's say you're a parent, and all of us are in some capacity of leadership because you're out front leading an example for someone else. So maybe you own a business, maybe you work somewhere, maybe it's neither one of those things, maybe you're at home just like I am today, and your coworkers are your kids, right? But what are some of your favorite ways to communicate the why? And sharing those things to help take them to the next level. If you guys could leave those in the comments, that would be fantastic. Also, and I forgot to ask this at the top of the video, and this is my signature question. I got this from a really great friend of mine, Brian Vogt. Fantastic guy. He's a realtor over in Illinois. Really good guy. He taught this to me, and I've stolen it, and I made it my own. But what's the best thing with you today? What's the best thing with you today? The key to a happy heart is a thankful heart. So finding the things that we're thankful for is good. I do want to leave one other thing with you, something that we do with Evan whenever he makes mistakes. We have a little mantra, and I'll actually have him on one of these videos, and I'll have him recite it for you so you guys know, that he knows it inside and out. All I have to do to start this is say it with me, Evan, and he'll start saying this mantra. Well, one part of the mantra is actually a quote from Walt Disney. And it's this. All I have to do is say to him, so let's say he makes a mistake and I've just corrected him. He made a mistake. I'll say, Evan, what do we do when we make mistakes? And he'll say, keep moving forward. If he's crying or what, depends what his state is at that point. But he knows that when he makes mistakes, we're supposed to keep moving forward. Right? So there's that. Also, and this is something that I didn't do on my last video. I'm going to kind of probably share this more and more in these videos that I'm going to do. Maybe you got this down. I'd love to hear about how you do this, what books you'd recommend, some strategies that you use. Leave those in the comments. That's fantastic. But maybe you know people that haven't mastered this yet, and they could greatly benefit from communicating more of why we should do the things that we do. Maybe they're in a leadership position, maybe they're a parent, a friend of yours, doesn't matter. You share this video with them. Share it with them, tag them in it. Maybe this can help them. I know for us, when we started doing these things, we do this in our marriage, we do this as parents, I've done this in business. In every area of my life went to a whole nother level. Our lives as a family went to a whole nother level. So maybe there are people in your life, they just need that one next thing to go to the next level. Maybe this is it. And I didn't come up with these things, guys. I read books. I study people. There's mentors in my life. They share great things with me. I'm just paying this forward to you. So I hope you're having a fantastic day, and we will see you on the next video.